Hello and welcome back. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It is the most beautiful time of the year. Football is back. All 32 teams are in training camp right now. We have Ian Rappaport and we have Adam Schefter firing off their tweets. You are getting notification football content all on you, and I'm here to give you my little fantasy football tips and tricks for this upcoming season. I got 5 tips for you. If you're a newcomer or you're a seasoned vet, it's always good to hear these little tips so you remember when you do your real life draft that you have these. Be prepared. As always, you could see this new mock draft as it goes on, so you could see how things go. I already know where I'm drafting, so for today's mock draft, we're going to be in the 11th spot. But for my first tip and trick for you today, it's going to be what kind of league you're in. I know it kind of sounds silly and stupid, and it's maybe not really a tip or trick, especially if you're a veteran, but know what kind of league you are drafting in. As a person that is in multiple leagues, I have to always make sure that I'm doing a mock draft or knowing when that draft for that kind of league is. I'm in this league where it's a 3 wide receiver league, full point PPR. I'm in another league where we just got rid of the tight end position, and I think it's ridiculous. But hey, that's the league I'm in right now, so I gotta be prepared that tight end position is maybe not as important for me in that draft. As well, there's those super flex leagues where you have the double quarterbacks, and quarterbacks are just flying off the shelf right away in the first and second round. And then there's the standard scoring, or there's best ball. So there's so many kinds of leagues in fantasy football now. Back when I first started, it was just doing the standard scoring league, and it was pretty hard to get people to do these little half point or full point PPR. But I definitely prefer a 3 wide receiver full PPR league. That's probably my favorite. The more points, the more action is always great. And as the league has been more passing as it's gone on, it's just fun to have these extra wide receiver or skilled players on your team. So my first tip, as I just said, know what kind of league know what kind of league you're in. Hard to say. And then my second tip for you, as well, it's kind of stupid and cliche, is know where you're drafting. I'm in that league where the one tight end. We used to do the figure out where you're drafting an hour before the draft, which is kind of silly. Where in my league of record here, where we do we already know our draft order, so probably everyone's been doing mock drafts. I've been doing a mock draft every single day. My mock draft here today is going to be on Sleeper. I'll leave that in the description of this case if you've never been on it. I love this app. You could do fantasy football there as well if you're looking for leagues to join in. But I love doing my mock drafts in this one. As you can probably see on the screen right now, we are in the 11th spot here. It is beautiful to look at. Fresh drafting season. So for my first 2 tips off the bat is know what kind of league you are drafting for and know what spot you're drafting for. If you don't have a fun way to figure out how your league's drafting, I'll put one of my favorites in the description. It's a 100-meter dash with like virtual players. Probably my favorite one because you can watch the players run if your league manager does record it. But I love doing that one for fantasy football. I know I'm drafting the 11th spot, and I know that certain players are not going to be there for me. Justin Jefferson, how much I would love to have him. Christian McCaffrey, how much I would love to have him. Travis Kelce, they won't be there when I'm drafting at 11 over here. But at the same time, these players like Diggs, Saquon Barkley, Patrick Mahomes, and Nick Chubb won't be there for the guys drafting in the first spot. So just be prepared to know where you're drafting and be ready to pivot in your draft. So don't be afraid to reach for a little Patrick Mahomes right here. He led the league and led everyone in fantasy points last year in overall scoring. So he's not a bad first option pick in this first round, but I'm going to be playing a little safe here. It's a 3 wide receiver league, and there's 1 wide receiver I have above the rest right here, and that's Stephon Diggs. I love to have that wide receiver to start, and just right there, Team 12 is willing to pivot. They went Patrick Mahomes right off the rip. That could certainly happen in real life, so I'm excited to see this little variation of it. So be prepared to pivot. So I'm excited. You always got to play the people around you as well. Depending on your league, you got to know what kind of league mates you have. I'm a Bears fan if you look up here, so people are going to know that I'm going to want DJ Moore or Justin Fields as my quarterback. Both of those guys won't be there when I'm picking at 11, but people know that about me. I'm in a league where I have a Saints fan, a Ravens fan, and a Bills fan. So you got to make sure you know who you're drafting around as well, and then figuring out their team. So I know Team 12 is not taking a quarterback there at all. So as the draft goes on, I got to be prepared to maybe I can let the quarterback fall into my next wrap pick and take him then and make sure I get that tier jump ahead of Team 12. And the same goes for Team 10 here. Knowing he already went a running back here, he's probably not going to be going running back again. So be prepared to pivot. And obviously, this is not how it's all going to go when you do your draft live. So being prepared to pivot as your live draft goes is crucial. And have a list, have something written down so you can check things off is my next tip for tip 4 here. Or tip 3 is have tip 4, I call kind of tip 3. Tip 3, we'll settle for 3. I'll combine the little where I'll know your league and where you're drafting as one tip right there. So have a little cheat sheet with you with the players that you have when you're doing your mock drafts that will be in that spot, and you can see which ones you want and how your team's overall being built. So right now, I love where I'm at right here. I can go Nick Chubb, who's one of my top running backs this year. When I do my running back video, you'll see where I have him ranked. Spoiler alert, I think I have him at 3 right now. Running back 3, I can go Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown. I'm going to have fun with it here. I'm going to take A.J. Brown here. 3 wide receiver league. I have 2 premium wide receivers right off the bat, full PPR. These guys are going to put up monster weeks and be week winners for me. For my fourth tip coming around in the 3rd round right here is, my friend told me this the other day, you're only as good as your 3rd and 3rd round pick. I'm going to throw in you're only as good as your 3rd and 4th round picks. These players will definitely play the whole factor in if your team's going to have a great year or you're going to be in the bottom of fantasy irrelevancy, where if one of these guys get hurt early on, it's not a good sign for you as the early weeks go on and as the season goes on. You're going to be falling down this tier. So you're only as good as your 3rd and 4th round pick. I would have loved that Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow to be there for me on the wrap. So that's something I wish that happened. But knowing that quarterback won't be taken behind me, I still want to take one of these tiers up. I could probably potentially even take Justin Fields here. Haven't taken him in a mock draft in this spot yet, so that'd be something fun to do. But there's too much talent here at the top. Knowing that Team 12 is yet to go wide receiver, Keenan Allen and Deebo Samuel won't be there for me when I'm coming back on my next pick. So that's what I'm thinking as this is going on. Between Deebo and Keenan Allen, I already have Diggs and A.J. Brown, who are both like home run hitters. So I'm going to go Keenan Allen here, get a PPR guy that's going to get pelted with receptions and help my team out overall. A.J. Brown and Diggs are kind of seem more of like, they're definitely going to get their receptions, but home run hitters more, where Keenan Allen's going to give me those points that are crucially needed. Team 12 is just doing something completely different. So is Team 10. The teams around me are doing different stuff than I thought. 3 running backs off the gate, quarterback, tight end, 2 running backs. I love what Team 8's doing, and Team 1, I did not even look all the way over there. So, Team 1, Higgins, Olave, and Jefferson, that's a scary big 3. That's a fun big 3. That's fantasy football right there. It's a lot of fun over there, especially even Team 8. Tyreek Hill, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, that's a huge big 3. So I like to have that strong tier position with a position group. I think my wide receiver core is up there as well. I've yet to take a running back here. I can go Deebo Samuel and go 4 wide receivers and get my flex out the way and done. I have Gibbs, I have Kenneth Walker, I have Aaron Jones, and Joe Mixon. I'm probably going to lean taking... I would love to take Calvin Ridley, but I do have my 3 wide receivers already gone. So I'm going to go with Jamari Gibbs here, rookie running back for the Detroit Lions. PPR league, I think he's going to be more of the out of the backfield back, where Montgomery is going to be the touchdown guy, so I'm definitely going to be losing a little touchdown there. But the PPR, the receptions, I'm very confident in. As the drafts, Fields went later in the first round. Could have went Fields right there and had my quarterback 1 right there. We have Trevor Lawrence. We have Miles Sanders, Jerry Jeudy, and Mattson here. Those are the players that I'm thinking. I'm definitely taking Trevor Lawrence no matter what right here. Makes me really wish I took Calvin Ridley in that earlier pick so I can get that stack. But knowing that Team 12 is not going to pick not going to pick a quarterback here. I'm kind of forced to take. I'm going to take Miles Sanders here. I think he's in a great situation where I think he is going to be the 3-down back in Carolina. I know Sleeper did give the little note earlier today on Miles Sanders having a great year and went exactly how I thought here on the wrap. So knowing who you're drafting around is key on who's going to fall to you. And everyone probably at home watching this already knew that I was probably going to take Trevor Lawrence since I said it, but I got to pick T. Law. He was a top 10 fantasy quarterback last year. Love the spot for him. And my fifth tip for you is don't wait forever on tight ends and quarterbacks, man. Quarterbacks, they definitely score the most points, especially if you're in a league. Know your league. If you're in a 6-touchdown league or a 4-point per touchdown league, it's the big difference. I think my next strategy would probably be taking Evan Ingram here on the wrap. Knowing that my Team 12 already has a tight end, I'm going to be going a skilled position here since I know that this guy already has his tight end. He already has his quarterback. So that made I can wait on the wrap to grab that position. Jackson Smith and Jigbo would be a player that I would have liked to graft here. Addison as well. Mike Williams. I already have Keenan Allen, so probably not a good thing to grab Mike Williams there. David Montgomery, I think, is a great value pick in the 7th round. He's going to be great. Hollywood Brown, I think, is going to be great as well. But I'm looking at Pickens. I'm looking at Burks, Jahan Dotson. I don't have that many running backs, so I could go a running back right here, as I do like that tier list of running backs here. I'm actually gonna go James Cook here. With the injury to Nyheim Hines, unfortunately, I think James Cook's going to have more of a passing role on the team, and this is a PPR league, and I think James Cook, once he could probably get that starting role, he probably could not look back, unless they do sign Dalvin Cook on the Bills, but it looks like he's going to be a Jet, so going James Cook here. And then I'm going to take Evan Ingram here. I'm going to take the stack of the quarterback and tight end. I love doing that, so I got my tight end on the team and Lawrence. They're going to be a pass-heavy team this year, and it's going to be fun. They do have Travis Etienne, so they could be a very well-balanced team this year. So my tight end, my quarterback's done. Everything else is just the biscuits and gravy. This is the best part. Just taking flyers on players that you have higher value on or you want to take a shot on. Like me personally, I love taking the late round grab where I'm picking at around 11. I love taking Zay Flowers. I think he's going to be great on the Ravens. And with Odell and Bateman being a little injury right now, Odell's not injured. He's good, but Bateman's injured. Odell does have an injury history. I think Zay Flowers is going to be a great player for the Ravens. And I'm sitting here trying to think what other player I could take. Odell's right there. Bateman goes after him in this draft, in this ADP I'm looking at here in the bottom left. Could have waited and not taken Lawrence. It could have went Rodgers here. But I'm going to go Khalil Herbert. I know he's not the full one in Chicago. The one is Justin Fields. He's the running back on the team in the goal line. But I like Khalil Herbert's game all around, so I'm not mad taking him here. If I wanted to take a flyer, I probably would have taken the Miami running back, Cade, or Damian Harris, because he could be the goal line back in Buffalo or the first 2-down back, but I do have James Cook, so I did not take him there. Jerick McKinnon, I think, is a great option for these late rounds as well. He definitely seemed like Patrick Mahomes' safety valve when they were down in games here. So now I'm more looking at who are flyers I can take. I could take Sky Moore here. He could be a great, if Kansas City figures out who their next number one is with Tooney being hurt. Rashee Rice could be another wide receiver I could take a flyer on. I could take Kendra Miller from the Saints with Alvin Kamara. Could have a suspension over his head. He could be an early guy that scores a lot of points. Early season guy that can score a lot of points. I'm gonna go Sky Moore here. I'm gonna take the Kansas City wide receiver, a next year 2 guy. Hopefully he does pop out here. So looking at these next few rounds, I'm gonna play this how I think I will as the draft goes on. I do play in a league. Like I said, I do have a Ravens fan in my league, and the tier drop for from Tucker to McPherson is not that great. 3, 2, 1. I did take Sky Moore here. Randall Moore went after, and Algier went after that. So I'm kind of back in this spot of who I'm going to take. I'm probably going to take a flyer. So I'm in an interesting spot right here. I fully not sure what to take at this spot. It's at the point in the draft. Do you take a kicker? Do you take a defense? And I'm a person that likes to have that tier above everybody on certain positions. So I'm going to take Justin Tucker here. I could be super early and could be roasted in the comments. If you want to leave a comment and tell me that was a reach with Justin Tucker. But I play in a league where I do have a Ravens fan, and he probably wouldn't be there on the next go-around. And 49ers defense went right away. I was debating between the 49ers defense and Justin Tucker. Eagles run of defense is right ahead of me. I am a little upset. The Ravens, Jets are all there. I like both of those, and I like the Steelers defense. So I'm going to wait on taking a defensive player. So in the spot, it's kind of at the point where I'm kind of not fully sure who I'm going to take here. Do I take a flyer on someone? I do like the defenses that are remaining. I don't feel like there's much of a tier drop off with those other defenses available. I'm pretty glad. I know Justin Tucker was probably a little early, but I'm glad I have him. He's a tier ahead of all these other guys, especially McPherson with Joe Burrow kind of being questionable with the ankle. If the Raiders can figure it out, they're great. Kansas City, Buckner is a pretty great option as well. But for my next player I'm going to be taking, I'm going to take Jaylen Warren. He's had a lot of he could possibly be the guy after Najee Harris for Pittsburgh, and I feel like he's a good pick just because I want to TJ Warren because he has gotten a little hype from training camp out here so far. I know it's early on. He was pretty hyped last year with the position, with Najee Harris not being that productive at the running back position. But I'm going with Jaylen Warren here, and then I'm pretty glad I could take the Ravens defense here, who I like. I'm a big Roquan Smith fan. I still think they're going to be a pretty good. The Jets defense as well could be great. So that's a good. And then there's the run of kickers. Oh, man. So this is the part of the draft where my last tip, my bonus tip, if you're staying around this long, thank you if you are staying around this long. Bonus tip is you win your league in the late. If you are staying around this so long, thank you. My bonus tip is you definitely win your league in the waiver wire. I don't know how many years there's that guy early on you take and you're just like, you can drop him. I could probably drop Jaylen Warren for someone that's way more productive that none of us have seen come out of nowhere, like Jalen Hyatt, Chase Brown, if he outperforms Joe Mixon. We don't know. It's pretty early on in the training camp. Figure out some of these diamond in the roughs. But it's waiver wire. I don't know how many. Last year, Justin Fields was picking up off our waiver wire. He was someone that ended up finishing as the top 6 scorer in fantasy football from week 6 on. So there's definitely the diamonds in the rough. You win your league off waivers and off the trades you do. And for my final pick, I'm going to be going. For my final pick here, I'm going to go Jalen Hyatt. I'm going to go another rookie wide receiver. I like to take guys with a little higher upside in the position or younger in case someone happens to pop off, like a Jamar Chase last year, where you kind of have that guy that's an unknown. But thank you if you are still watching to this point. So I have my 5 tips. Know where you're drafting. Know what kind of league you're in. Have a little cheat sheet with you so you can write down players that you like. You as well be ready to pivot during the draft. So if a player that you like got taken ahead of you, look around where you're going to be drafting next. That's what I did with Trevor Lawrence. I took Miles Sanders, who I think is a tier ahead of Madison here. And then don't wait too late to grab a quarterback or tight end position. This draft, I did wait and took a tight end, but I went with the stack of Trevor Lawrence, who I think is a great quarterback for this year in fantasy. So don't be afraid to take the guy early on and play the rest of the board as it goes on. And then you're only as good as your 3rd and 4th round picks. So as those players, if they get hurt, they can really put your team behind in the whole fantasy season. But as always, like I just said, if you're still watching this point, thank you so much. I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you like this mock draft and my little tips and trip, please leave a like and comment down below. What's one of your favorite tips or tricks, and who are someone that you're eyeing to grab in fantasy this year? Who you're really wanting to grab and no one else to grab. For me right now, it'd probably be Calvin Ridley. It'd probably be DJ Moore. It'd be Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. So those are the guys I really want to take. Guys, new faces on new teams with players that young quarterbacks that want that higher upside. We've seen the formula these last few years where when you get that tier 1 wide receiver, you only go better for you only become even better for fantasy football and for your football team. But as always, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Keep on smiling. I'll see you in the next one.